Hi, Matt with E-Trailer. If you have a 2025 Ram 1500 and you're looking for something that is extra sturdy, extra strong to carry whatever items you have, then the Yakima HD roof rack is going to be a great option for you. So let's check it out. What I really like about a roof rack is a few things. So this is going to be perfect if you have any accessories like a bike rack, ski carrier, or even if you have a canoe. This is going to be a great location for it since it's going to be above your cab, saving you a lot of room. And then you can leave your bed open for other items, anything for work, or if you have a bunch of camping supplies, you can put it back there. And I like this better than any hitch-mounted accessory or trailer because it's not going to be extending the footprint of your vehicle, because the truck's already a little bit big anyway, so saving any room you can is going to help you a lot in the long run. And really the biggest thing that's going to separate this rack from other racks is going to be the crossbars themselves. Now we're going to be talking about the crossbar, the tower, and the fit kit, so let's kind of focus on that crossbar right now. So you'll notice with this HD design, this is extra thick, so it's going to be extra strong too. Now something to think about is some accessories might not be able to wrap around that very well. So what you could do is use the T-channel that is built on top of it to mount your accessories like that instead. What I also like about this is we're going to have this anchor point at the very end of it. So if you do have anything that requires straps, like a canoe or a kayak, you can use this point to tie it off to. Underneath it, we're going to have another T-channel, and this one's going to be a little bit different. Might be a little bit hard to see, but this is what's being used to mount your tower to your crossbar. And with that tower, it is going to have this end cap that comes right off. You notice we have this little plastic core right here. You can actually get that replaced with a metal lock core. You can find that on our website. And you can get that kit-alike with your other Yakima accessories. That's going to cover up all these points here. There's going to be a lot of bolts, some little doors. There's a lot going up here. So it's nice that we can cover this up, and really what all these mechanisms are doing is helping us get a good fit today. A lot of times this is used to really make sure you have a good fit on top of your roof. If you have a roof that tapers in, we really don't have a roof that changes too much, so we don't have to think about that a lot. But underneath, you'll notice we have this hook and base that kind of grab onto your roof. Now the way this is working is if I open up my door, you'll notice that hook is grabbing on to your gutter right here. And that's how you're getting that good fit. And above that, at this kind of rubber base here, that's nice, it's made out of rubber, we're not going to scratch anything up. This is how it's sitting on top of your roof. Now as far as how that is looking compared to other options around, that's looking pretty okay. I mean, it's better than some other options I've seen around, but it's personally not my favorite fit. If I was going to compare it to another probably better fit, I'd say the Thule roof rack is great because that fit is almost seamless on top of your roof. Now let's move over to how this is going to sit on top of our roof. The first measurement I want to get is going to be the overall height it adds. So going from your roof to the top of your crossbar, that's going to be about 5 inches. That's not too bad, but what I'd recommend doing is taking the total height of a vehicle, your crossbar, and if you have anything on top of that, include that too, so you know if you can make it underneath something like a garage or not. Next up, we'll talk about the space underneath. That's going to be a little bit over 3 inches. So that's most good amount of space for you for most cases. Now, like I said, a lot of clamp-on accessories are probably not going to be able to wrap around there, so I wouldn't be too concerned with it. But if you do get one to wrap around there, and if it is a little bit bulky, just kind of keep in mind it might be a little bit hard to really use. And if you have a sunroof on your roof, if that expands up, it might make contact with it, so just keep an eye out for it. And for how far it's going to stick out on the side for your overhang, this is pretty minimal. This is going to be as close as you can probably get. And a lot of people like that because you're going to be less likely of hitting your head on this. Now, it is a downside in some cases because if you are using a clamp-on accessory, you're not going to have really any room to put it on like that. But like I said earlier, most mount-on accessories won't be able to wrap around this unless you have an adapter. So definitely keep that in mind, but something you would want as close as possible to the edge would be anything like a bike rack or a ski carrier. And as for the weight capacity, Now, like I said, these bars are pretty sturdy, but it's important to think about the whole rack itself, because we're going to have the fit kit and the towers themselves. So your crossbars are probably going to have the highest weight capacity. And honestly, what your limiting factor most likely will be is going to be your roof. So what I'd recommend doing is just finding that in your owner's manual and then going from the lowest rated component. In my opinion, I think this is a solid choice, especially if you like the look of something a little bit more rugged on top of your roof. You like those tie-off points that we have too if you have a lot of kayaks or canoes, and you just want something that's going to last you a long time. Now, if I was going to compare it to anything else, I still think the Thule roof rack is another great option. I think it just gives us a little bit more of a sleek design, and I really like how those fit kits really sit on top of a roof. But either way, you can't go wrong. As for the installation, either one of them won't be too bad. Now, this one will be a little bit more involved. There's a lot more settings you have to deal with. So if you are a little bit curious to see how we handle it, just stay tuned and we'll walk you through the process. If you don't have that HD adapter in here yet, this is how you're going to do it. You're just going to grab this plastic piece. It's going to have this ridge side on the bottom. I find the best way to put this in here is kind of at an angle. Putting in one side first and applying pressure to the other side until it kind of clicks into place. Then you're going to grab your block, and this is going to have a threaded hole on it. Make sure you just stick that and line it up with your bolt. If you have any issues doing that, just flip this around. You're going to find that you have this opening right here. If that opening is blocked, it's just because it's blocked by this little tab. So just pull that out. Now you have access to it. Grab your Allen key, try to line it up, and then just tighten it on slightly. Just like that. Now that your towers are prepped, because you're going to do that on each one, you're going to move over to the crossbar, and we're going to flip this over. And now we have the underside facing up. You're going to find we have a little bolt in there. With that bolt, I'm just going to grab our Allen key and remove it. And sometimes this can be a little bit tricky getting out. So what we find the best way to take it out is just by flipping it over and catching it in your hand. Then you're going to remove your end cap, just sliding that off. And we can put our towers on. Now the way you're going to put your tower on is just by lining up that metal block with that channel. Now I can actually mount both the towers from the same side. I just need to make sure they're facing in opposite directions. So I need to make sure this is facing like this for the side furthest away from me. I'm just going to push it on all the way across. And for the second one, I'm just going to make sure it faces the opposite direction. I'm going to take off that end cap. You can just squeeze on it and it'll come right off. And it's just going to face this way when you put it on. Now, if yours is already on and it's too tight, just loosen that same bolt we used earlier to install that HD bar adapter, and then it'll go on. And from here, just make sure you put your end caps back into place, and we can move over to the next step. We're going to put these towers in their exact spots, how they're going to sit on your roof. Now we need to reference our instructions to find those exact numbers. That's going to be under your M1 and your M3 measurement. Your M1 is going to refer to the measurement on your front crossbar, and your M3 is going to refer to the one on your rear crossbar. They might be different, sometimes they're the same though. And an easy way to really measure this out is if I look down here at the crossbar, we're going to notice there's some little numbers here. Sometimes they can be a little hard to see, but once you spot them, then you can just line up the very front of our tower to the spot where it needs to sit. And then just do that on the other side. Next up, we're going to have to adjust some settings. But before we do that, we're going to have an error on our crossbar. And it's going to make it easiest for you if you make sure this arrow right here is facing away from you. It might be kind of hard to see, but just make sure it's pointing away from you. Once you've done that, we can actually come over here to the tower. And the first setting we're going to adjust is going to be our P1 or P2, depending on if you're on the front or rear crossbar. We're going to have that bolt in here, that same one we used to connect to that block earlier. You're going to notice we have 3 different lines. There's going to be an A, a B, and a C. The C is going to be closest to you, and you're just going to reference your instructions to find which one this needs to sit on. And once you've done that, then we're going to tighten this into place. After, when this is tightened, you're going to notice at some point you're going to hear some clicking coming from your Allen key. That's going to be that built-in torque device letting you know it's tight enough. Just like that. Next up, I'm going to reach over here. I'm going to grab one of our bases. And what I want to do with this is there's going to be an arrow on that tube. I want to make sure that is facing away from the inside of your crossbar. There's also going to be this little indentation here. Just make sure that is facing away. Once you've done that, we're going to line this up with this metal bar. You're going to find we have an opening that's going to match up that same shape. You're going to push down on it until it clicks into place. And from here, we can adjust our T1 and our T2 measurements. And that's just going to be the T1 on your front crossbar and the T2 on your rear crossbar. The way we're going to adjust that is by coming over here to this secondary bolt. That's going to be right here. That's going to be very similar to the P1. We're going to have a 1, a 2, and a 3. The 3 is going to be closest to you. So just reference your instructions to find which setting you need this to be on, and then you can adjust it. The easiest way to adjust it is just by loosening that bolt up, grabbing the fit kit, and just pivoting it to where you need it to sit, and then retighten that down. And I want to repeat that whole process on the other side. And now we can actually start putting this on our roof. Now, what we're going to do is make sure that arrow we had on the bottom of that crossbar is still facing forward. And when we put it up here, we're just going to take our time. You could grab a friend to help you out with this, but you can do it either way. I'm just going to roughly place it up here. It doesn't need to be perfect. You can change it up later on. And either way you go, it's going to be the same process either with your front or rear. And to make sure your crossbar is sitting in the right spot, we're going to use our M2 and an M4 measurements. You can find those in your instructions. Now for your M2, that's going to be referring to your front crossbar. The way you're going to get that is measuring from the very top of your windshield all the way up to the very front of this base. Once you've done that, then just do it on the other side to make sure it's even and squared off. Now when we're going over to the rear crossbar, it's going to be a little bit different. Instead, we're going to be going from the front of your front crossbar to the front of your rear crossbar to get that M4 measurement. Once you reference that measurement and get that even on both sides, you can move over to the next step. Once you have this up here, you might find you have an odd fit. And what I mean by that is the way our base is sitting on our roof. What we're looking for is something to be more centered on this black strip here. So what we're going to have to do with this is just bring our tower in a little bit. Now this happens every once in a while when you get kits. Sometimes it just doesn't match up to your roof exactly, and that's where we're going to kind of fine tune it now. Something I like to do is grab some of that painter's tape and just lay it right next to where my base is sitting. So once I put this back up here, I don't have to remeasure anything. I just got done fixing how everything is sitting on here, and now we're going to install these clamps. So what you're going to do is come over here and open up our access door, just like that. And you're going to find we have this little bolt in here. It kind of has this kind of point that sticks out. You're going to stick that underneath. And that point that sticks out there is going to grab right into that opening. Just there. Not the bigger one, but the smaller one at the bottom. And we're just going to double check with how the bottom's sitting here. And what my goal is to lower that down. So I'm going to start up here with that swing bolt. Bring it down some. Right now it's making contact with it. So I'm actually going to go over to the drive bolt, loosen that a little bit. Just like that. And now I'll completely clear. Now I'll lower that a little bit more. Try to get this as straight as possible. Once that's done, we'll come back over to the drive bolt right here. Tighten that just a little bit. And come over to your swing bolt and tighten that just a little bit too. You don't want to tighten that all the way down because we need to tighten the other side down, because if you tighten one side too much, it's going to pull and give you an uneven fit. So you're just going to keep doing that back and forth. And you're eventually going to reach a point. You're going to have a lot of resistance. You start hearing this click. And we'll tighten up the bottom one too. There we go. And we'll close up that axis door. Close up this tab too. And from here, we're going to give it a good shake test. Make sure everything feels solid. It's not going to go anywhere. And then I'm going to put my end cap on. And if you got the lock cords for it too, you can lock it up. And from here, we're really just going to be loading up with whatever gear we have and taking it out for a ride to see how it does. But that's just a look at the installation and some of the features of the Yakima roof rack on our 2025 Ram 1500. I'm Matt. Thanks for watching.